At that school, everybody knew the janitor, but almost no one really looked at him. Kadu walked through the courtyard with a crooked step, one eye almost gone, the other squinting to see the basics. Two skinny, crooked teeth, uniform always a bit loose. For some, he looks messy. For the principal, the kind of look that scares parents. On parent-teacher conference days, the order was clear. No Kadu at the front gate. Stay back there. What none of them imagined was that the very man they hid from the entrance was the only one who actually saw everything that could go wrong inside. Kadu didn't become a janitor because he lacked dreams. He became one because he lacked options. His eyesight had been bad since childhood. He tripped on curbs and heard people say, "With that, no one's hiring you for anything serious." When a job opened at the school, he took it right away. Low pay, but close to home, and above all, full of people. People he learned by the sound of their voice, their steps in the hallway, the way they slammed doors. He knew which student arrived hungry, which one wore torn shoes, which one cried alone in the bathroom, while the principal talked about the school's image. Kadu took care of what never appears in any brochure. The humiliation didn't come in shouting, it came in details. On a regular day, Kadu cleaned classrooms, picked up trash in the courtyard, checked if all the gates were properly locked. On parent-teacher conference day, the routine changed. "Kadu, today don't hang around the front, okay? Stay more in the back of the school, tidy the storage room, that kind of thing," the principal said, fixing his tie. "But if a parent asks something, I'll answer. Your job is to keep things clean. Leave the visual side to me." Visual. A nice word to say. You show up too much for my taste. The younger staff followed his lead. One day Kadu walked down the hallway and heard two of them whispering, "Look how he walks. Looks like he's gonna fall any second." If I were a parent and saw that at the entrance, I'd think the school doesn't take care of anything. Soft little laughs. Kadu pretended not to hear, but felt every syllable. He kept doing what he knew, mopping the floors carefully, even when a rushed teacher complained, "This is taking too long," checking lock after lock, turning the key until he was sure, turning off lights in empty hallways, watching the old wiring near the water fountain. One rainy afternoon, he mentioned in the office, "That back staircase is getting too slippery. We should put some anti-slip tape there." "We'll deal with that later, Kadu. Right now we're focused on the science fair, the presentation, the supervisor's visit." The principal cut him off without looking up from his papers. Kadu left quietly. But before going home, he went to that staircase. He dried every step, put up a makeshift "caution slippery" sign, and thought to himself, if I don't do it, no one will. It was parent-teacher conference day. The school was full, smelling of weak coffee and simple cake from the cafeteria. The principal stood at the entrance, greeting each parent with a trained smile. "Welcome. Your presence is very important to our school community." Kadu, as always, was in the back. He'd arrived an hour early, swept the courtyard, checked the gates, stopped by the storage room. He felt the cold breeze coming in through the side hallway and remembered the staircase. He went up slowly, hand on the railing, his good eye searching for any shine of water on the floor. Last night's rain had left everything damp again. At the entrance, a late mother rushed in, pulling her son by the hand. The line at the gate was long, the principal busy with the father complaining about grades. Instead of waiting, she decided to take a shortcut. "Let's go this way, it's faster." She turned into the side hallway, straight toward the back staircase. Up above, near the light fixture, a piece of poorly insulated wire had been bothering Kadu for a while. Leak in the ceiling, old wiring, slippery steps, a combo that never ends well. He heard the sound of hurried footsteps, the echo in the wet hallway, the child's voice, "Mom, the floor is..." Before the sentence finished, Kadu saw the woman's shoe slip slightly and the boy lose his balance, his arm stretching toward the wall where the wire was exposed. "Ma'am, wait!" he shouted, louder than he was used to. On instinct his own body barely understood, he lunged forward, grabbing the boy's shoulder with one hand and pushing the mother toward the drier side of the step with the other. The sound that could have been a full-on fall became just a broken stumble. The shock that could have burst there stayed only in the horrible what-if no one wanted to imagine. The mother, out of breath, looked at the wet floor, the crumpled warning sign in the corner, the wire. Then she looked at the crooked, sweaty face of the janitor who hardly ever showed up in the school's photos. That night, the meeting started differently. When the principal grabbed the microphone to talk about learning outcomes and class performance, the same mother from the staircase raised her hand. "Before the numbers, I need to talk about what happened here today." She described the shortcut through the hallway, the slippery steps, the exposed wire, the almost fall. And most of all, she said, who had stopped it from becoming a disaster. If Kadu hadn't been there, I don't know what state my son would be in right now. He had already dried the stairs, put a sign up. He saw the danger before anyone. Parents started whispering, "Kadu? The short janitor with the crooked walk? One the principal always sends to the back?" The principal tried to take control again. "Yes, our support staff does their job, but let's stay focused on the agenda." A father in the front row cut him off. "The agenda is our kids' safety, too. If there's someone here seeing danger before we do, I want that person in the conversation, not hidden." Another mother jumped in. "My son keeps talking about Kadu. Says he's the one who asks if he's eaten, who tells him not to run on wet floors." From that point on, the meeting turned. Instead of just listening to slides, parents started making clear demands. "We want this janitor at the front as well. We want him in the decisions about the school's structure." The following week, Kadu was called not to bring coffee, but to sit at the planning table. They asked him where the gate failed, which wire needed repair, which hallway light had been out for months, things he already knew by heart, but that for the first time someone was writing down as priorities. Over time, they built a safety protocol based directly on his observations, and at later meetings, alongside the principal, they'd call to the microphone, "Now we'll hear from Kadu, our head of maintenance and school safety." His steps stayed crooked, his eyes stayed weak, his teeth stayed exactly as they'd always been. What changed was the way people looked when he walked by. Gone was the hidden giggle, replaced by a respectful greeting right in front of everyone. Kadu never asked to be anyone's hero. He wanted simple things, his pay on time, respect, and kids going home in one piece. For a long time he heard that he was sloppy, weird, someone who doesn't make a good impression. He pushed to the back of the hallway. He turned into a useful ghost, only seen when it was time to clean, fix, or patch up something. Out front, the principal's pretty speeches about educating for the future took the spotlight. What that near fall on the staircase showed is that there is no future if someone doesn't take care of the floor in the present. The mother who almost lost her son on that step didn't leave talking about classroom decor. She left talking about a name, the janitor who grabbed her boy by the shirt before everyone else's negligence landed on a child's body. Maybe you too have been treated as just the cleaning guy, just the coffee lady, just the guy at the gate. Maybe you keep hearing that you don't have the right profile to be in the front, even though you know that if you walked away, the structure would collapse. If Kadu's story poked at something inside you, write in the comments, "I am not just the cleaning guy." Subscribe to Unstoppable Underrated. Send this video to someone who feels invisible on their badge but is indispensable in reality. And remember, a lot of schools, companies and stores are only still standing because there's a Kadu holding back the risks everyone else pretends not to see.